Hey, what's up, everyone? Thank you so much for being here. Wherever you are, wherever you're streaming from, whoever you're with, I'm so thankful for you. Without you, I would not be here. Thank you to also the Wiregrass Museum for inviting me back to do a front porch session. This is just a time. It's called front porch session because it's a vibe where the party is over. And we're sitting out on the front porch, and you asked me to share some poetry, whether you actually did or not. So I'm going to share some new poems from my newest book, White Flags on the Moon, which is available at willthesecond.com. You can get it there. I am 21 years old. I'm a filmmaker as well as a writer. I make films about coming of age stories and childhood and magic. And I write about love and religion and the human condition and the human soul and things that I experience in my daily life. Hopefully the poems and words that I share with you tonight will bring you some joy, will help you to think a bit. And yeah, ultimately, just a time for everyone to come together and sit around a screen and watch me talk. I'm thankful for you. I do art and I write and I make films mainly because it brings people together. And if that happens, then I'm satisfied and I feel successful. So yeah, let's get going. I'm going to read my first one is called A Church Boy. But before I get started, feel free to use the chat, whether you're online at the website or on Instagram or Facebook or wherever. I can see them, so I'll be monitoring questions you have or comments you have, and we can have a conversation over the internet, which I think is really cool. So yeah, let's get started. I will read you a few until they kick me off. A Church Boy. I was born onto a navy blue pew that was decorated with cracked splinters of peppermints that occasionally fell to the blue washed carpet where I took my first steps. My cheeks are wider than they used to be because of all the old ladies with umbrellas for hats who thought I was cute enough to take home and eat up. I thought anyone who played the organ was the Holy Ghost, even Count Von Count from Sesame Street. And my faith crumbled when I learned that he was only a vampire. I never understood what a deacon was until I read about the Pharisees. They lined the front row, shouted "Amen" in their sleep, and collected money during the offering with white gloves that draped over unholy hands. Like a fish that grows up in water, I grew up in religion, knee-deep in hymns, homilies, and preachings of hell signed with heaven in the postscript. Thank you. This next one, I love the idea of hair. I haven't cut mine since I graduated high school. I wouldn't say I'm obsessed with hair, but I don't know. I like the spiritual meaning that it gives off. Just like your hair, the longer it grows, the longer you've been alive, the longer you've gone through things. So this next one is called Locks. Yeah, about me locking my hair after high school. After high school, I locked my hair with a long toothstick comb and a few hairpins. At 9 years old, I began to belt Heartless by Kanye to the top of my lungs and vowed to remember the 808 heartbreaks that shaped my roots and to never, ever wash them out. I have been conditioned to retreat into my thoughts, and as my hair grows longer, so does my need for strength, for solace, for the secrets of the stars and how they hang so effortlessly. It's hard to forgive people when I have locked the pain of 1,000 sparrows in a nest of grudges. Though I have become so attached to the length of my hair, I am afraid that I will never, ever learn to let go. Thank you. The thing about hair is also or living or experiencing life is you remember the highs, but you also remember the lows. And sometimes, especially this year, it can seem like there are more lows than highs. But it's important to never forget how to forgive, and never forget how to love. This next one is called Patience. It's kind of a love poem, but what would poetry be without a love poem or two? My first love poem. Patience. She is my broken hallelujah, a blessing miles away from the praise of my lips. We are as far from each other as sinners are from God, but as close to each other as sinners are to God. She is my promised land, and I have pitched a tent, waiting to taste the land of milk and honey. I will dance in confusion and sing in awe of the one who created her, drunk on faith until her fingers laid in mine sober my heart. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I wrote that every year. I give myself a word to work on. This year my word is surrender, this year my word is intimacy. Last year my word was surrender, which is when I wrote the book, and that was written in the year of patience. And I learned lots of things. One, that patience is hard. I constantly want to learn patience faster, which is kind of an oxymoron, but you know what I mean. This next one is entitled Ode to John Wayne. It's not the John actor. It's this guy I met once who is the most kind soul, and who is, I believe, the epitome of loving hard, of constantly loving, like never selfish. And even though he's older, he has the heart of a child. And this is for him. Ode to John Wayne. I've never met anyone from Neverland before meeting him. He has tamed time with the watch tied around his wrist and swings on the stars to escape the rain of his reality. He imitates the heart of a young boy with dreams bigger than his size 10 casual shoes. That's right is the answer to every fact that he knows to be true. These are the facts. The moon is only a flight away. Everyone still loves Lucy. The oldies are the classics. Fantasy is the future, and his love's voice tastes sweeter than the maple that pours out like waterfalls from all the trees in his forest. A simple man with intricate scars and a heart wired to daydream about the cracked windows of heaven. When I met him, he loves watching the show I Love Lucy, and he was on a farm with maple trees, and just watching him day to day is astounding to me. I learned a lot about how to live life just by watching the way that he loves people and thinks about the world. I'll stop and pause to answer a question. I see what got you into poetry. Actually, I always thought of poetry as, like, I don't know, cliche. It had to rhyme, and a good poem wasn't good unless it took you a while to understand what it meant. Until junior and senior year of high school, I had a really good teacher in 12th grade, Matthew Huff, who is actually watching tonight, and we started a club, and every Friday at 6 a.m., we would go to Starbucks and write poetry with other classmates and read each other's poetry and critique it. And when I saw that community being able to express themselves and their pain and their high and their lows on paper, and the joy that everyone got from it and that I got from it, I was like, something that I can't stop doing. So I continued to do it, and now I'm here, which is crazy. I would have thought, but yeah, it's a great way to express your feelings. People buying my book is just a bonus. I write for me and I write for my friends. And whoever picks up my books, it's for them. Even if it's only one. So yeah, this next one is called Dandelion. This is actually the last poem I wrote for the book. And I don't know, it might be my favorite out of there, which is wild, because I literally wrote it like a week before I published. It goes like this. We kissed in a dream, and I can still make out the apparition of your lips pressed against mine. I scrunch my eyes tight, and the little black girl with summer braids who wishes her hair would grow faster blows out her line. And your face, like a vapor, parachutes into the wind with the pappus. The sweet moments between sleep and first light is where we meet, and whoever you are, you made me want to love again. That poem was, I don't know, do you ever have like a dream that someone's in your dream, but you don't know who it is when you wake up, but you know it was someone that you're familiar with? That's what that's based on. Like just that whole concept of, I don't know, like seeds planting in your mind, or like having these vivid dreams, but you can't remember anything of it. And lots of inspiration comes from dreaming and, I don't know, life. But yeah, that's Dandelion. This next one is entitled Bathsheba. It's about Bathsheba from the Bible, and King David's story with that. And then, yeah, we'll talk about it. I think King David wrote poems for Bathsheba well before he saw her bathing on the roof. She probably consumed his thoughts so much that he had trouble looking her in the eyes during dinner with Uriah. I know he imagined her laying next to him in bed, under the most expensive sheets money could buy, their legs intertwined, his lips on hers, her hands in his hair, and Uriah's bones buried under the floorboards like an Edgar Allan Poe poem. When he spotted her washing in beauty and lying in sunlight, he decided to rewrite his poems on her with his fingers. David's heart belonged to Bathsheba well before he saw her bathing on that roof. Thank you. I love the story. I love David. David might be one of my favorite characters in the biblical story. And he, not because he was perfect, he wasn't at all. I mean, he slept with someone else's wife. Uriah in that poem was the husband of Bathsheba. But he, I don't know, he was still called a God after God's own heart. And I think it's because even after all his mistakes, he still had the faith to believe that he was loved by God, someone greater than himself. And that takes a lot of faith just to even believe that you're worthy of love. And so, yeah, that's that one. And the next one I'm going to read is one, but I'll look out real quick and answer some questions I see that have popped up. What poems have inspired you the most when you write? That's a good question. I I think I think about particular poets more than I think about particular poems. But I have favorite poems from my favorite poets. One is Khalil Gibran, which I will end the session by reading one of his poems later. That I love inspiration from. Richard Seiken is a wonderful poet. Look up his poem "Shake the Dust." I mean, no, not Richard Seiken. Sorry, Anis Mushkani. Look up his poem "Shake the Dust." Richard Seiken has a book called "Crush," which is beautiful. It's both beautiful and violent, and I love that. Violently desiring someone is how I would describe it. Levi the Poet is amazing. I got to meet him once. Huge influence. And Lee Young Lee has a poem called Peaches, which is magnificent. Check those out. So yeah, let me read the next one, and then I'll go back to the chat. More questions. This next one is entitled One. It's an adventure poem. It goes like this. Let's stick up a gas station on a road trip and tell the mustached man working the cashier to put all the gummy bears, sour candy, and M&Ms in a bag, but then pay for all of it anyway because we felt bad for sticking up a gas station and telling the hairy cashier to put all the gummy bears, the sour candy, and peanut M&Ms in a bag that we forgot to bring. Let's movie hop in our local theater and see all the new releases for the price of one, then slowly go see each movie. It can pay for all the tickets at least once, but not remember any of the stories because we were making our own in the last row. Let's argue on the way to your parents' house about how I forgot to pick up the gas cap off the ground before we left the key and almost crashed the car, only to realize the car is still intact and I like holding you in my arms. Let's wake up at the crack of dawn, watch the sun rise over the city and find the fanciest hotel, pretend we are guests just to eat the continental breakfast and talk in snobbish accents. Let's escape out the back door on New Year's Eve, seconds before the clock strikes 12, so I can spend the first moments of the new year with only you, a ceiling of stars above us and nothing in between us. Let us one. Yeah, that's my adventure poem. I wrote that because I liked the rhythm of like singing a long verse and then flipping it just to say the long verse again and then like switching what it all meant. I've never stuck a station, and I owe for my movie tickets if you're wondering. The chat. I have never written a poem inspired by Phyllis Wheatley. I will look them up though after I log off from here. So thank Patricia French. This next one is about doubt and unbelief and the prayer to believe. A lot of the times I can become apathetic and not wanting to believe in anything because of my circumstances and everything going on in the world and in my life. So this is about doubt. I don't think you can have faith in anything without doubt. I don't think doubt is the opposite of faith. I think they work in tandem. But this is about that. Help my unbelief. Was your body stiff like dried bones laid desolate in the snow on that last day? Did you awake by morning and just sit on the edge of your stone table, wiping away the dust from your eyes? Sometimes I lay paralyzed under bed sheets when the sun runs its fingers across my face, wondering if I want to accept the breath you gifted me with that day, scared that it might not be enough. Did you ever contemplate hiding behind the stone, away from the crowds that cursed you and ripped the air from your lungs? I guess forgiveness is what rolled the stone away, and unbelief keeps the sheets over my head in the morning. Thank you. Yeah, that was Help My Unbelief. About apathy. Apathy is a weird feeling, and it's hard to get out of ruts sometimes, but just taking that first step to get out of bed is the biggest step you can take. This next one is actually entitled Surrender. This is the poem that was written in the beginning that inspired the name of the book. It is my definition of what surrender is. Surrender. It's the pillaging of your rib cage to present the flesh of your flesh with the question if she will become the bone of your bone. It's the ballroom dance and the spine-arching dip after the ballerina spins in her music box. Surrender is opaque windows and the prayers that are never answered. The cross in replace of the crown, lacing together under white sheets, and the kiss that tastes like salted tears. It's singing in the dark when there's a monster in the closet, sinking to the bottom of the ocean with a stone around your neck, autumn dying to winter, trying to scream in a nightmare when your voice goes mute, and struggling to breathe among the stars. Surrender is looking through your car window at the keys sitting on the dashboard after you locked the doors from the inside. It's the yellow rubber ducky that doesn't float, the clownfish with a broken fin, and the father that must learn how to let go. It's trying to stitch up a broken heart with guitar strings and the melodies of an untuned harp. It's when the lights in the opera house dim to black and the red curtain opens on practiced verses. Surrender is the white shoelace that keeps coming untied, the double-knotted bunny ear that has been looped, tangled, and tried, knowing it will again become undone, unfolded, unraveled in full, collecting dust on the floor. To surrender is to die without a funeral, a white flag waving high above rows of tombstones. Thank you. That one was important to me, only because the lesson I learned in the year where my word was surrender was as soon as we let go of the things we hold on to so tight, is the moment where we are in the best position to love better, but also live a life of peace. It doesn't mean that you don't care about anything or fall into a feeling of apathy, but it's rather I will do the best I can and I will love the hardest I can, and whatever happens after that is what happens. I'm running out of time, so I will read you a couple more and then end with a poem by Khalil Gibran that I love and often come back to. It's helped me a lot this year. The last two I want to read to you. One is called Cantu, and that's the one I will read next. Cantu, like the shampoo. Maybe the best shampoo that I've ever used. It smells wonderful. This is not an ad, by the way. I just love it a lot. Another one about hair. So yeah. Cantu. I remember when you cut your hair. It was after I left, and I can never stop thinking that may have been the reason why. The next time I saw you, it took me a day to notice your hair fell at the top of your shoulder blade and did not cascade down the summit of your spine. I felt embarrassed that I had been away from you for so long. But if you would have let me, I would have counted every strand of hair like God counts the stars until I fall asleep, just to wake up the next morning to start all over again. Our hair is the same length now. And in my dreams, I braid us together, and it's summer, and the pools are open, and we're barefoot, and we hold hands, and we play rock, paper, scissors in the grass, and we kiss in the sun, and you wash my hair while I wash yours, and the Cantu suds are magic. Until shampoo falls into our eyes and we both cry because you cut your hair and it took me way too long to notice. Um, I will probably write more poems about hair just because I love it so much. So look out for those. Okay, the last one of mine that I want to read you is called Encore Nidre, Opus 47. Um, it's based on an orchestra piece that I had the pleasure of hearing live. When I heard this piece in this stadium, I had a very emotional reaction to it because I think I went in with a lot of, I don't know, I was just feeling like, I don't know, a lot of emotions, and this song just like perfectly summed up what I was feeling. And so I ran out after it was over and wrote this poem in my bedroom. And I'm excited to get to share it with you all. And then I will read you one more that's not mine, and then that'll be it for me. Thank you again, everyone who's here. I'm literally so grateful. I wish we could be in person, but I'm all excited and awed by the human race, by the ways that they find to come together and still share art and love with people. So I hope you've enjoyed this session and enjoyed the people that you're hanging with. And if you're alone watching it, thank you. I'm here with you. So here's Encore Nidre, Opus 47. Dig your fingers into this body. Wind will blast dust and blood, and ravens will lift from lung and vessel through pipe and fury and baptize the audience in ether and angel hair. I will not curse you lest the coal burn my tongue to ash, and I swallow the memories of when your body tasted of lilac and honey and wine from the first grapes of the harvest of Adam. The other day, I etched a smiley face into the dew caked on my car window, and then the lips dripped water and skin. Maybe it was metaphorical. Maybe when God was a kid, he was a ghost hiding in the cracks of the yellow stained glass windows, waiting to scare me as I walked through corners of Hollywood and slipped over sweet olive oil. With anointed knees and a dirty face, my heart burns with fire, but it is not holy. It is only fire and anger and the screeching of ravens as feathers break into orange embers. My body lay on the threshing floor, begging to be gripped in resonant sounds of hallelujah and weeping echoes through long hallways that lead to open moors with common sunflowers holding baby breath flowers between its arms, and lightning, but no thunder, with still rivers that sing to the rocks, and everything is light. That cello sounds like God if he answered the son's prayer in that garden where everything felt heavy, where blood and dust and raven feathers fell like rain from furrowed brows. The violins pull and push like the Spirit. The trombone is Judas, and Peter hated the music. Let me be angry and scream until spit falls on holy ground and sinner is not engraved on my dirty forehead, dripping sweat and skin. Let me stomp my feet in the throne room and use all my breath to complain, bury my face at your feet and grasp at your knees like a newborn trying to walk again. That was the last poem that I wrote that I will read for you. It was a lot. It was very emotional. It was like about anger, and that last image of me like on my knees, grasping at knees, was inspired by Marriage Story by Noah Baumbach. Weaving my film into my poetry. But the scene where he says something he regrets and grasps at the knees of his wife. Almost in need of forgiveness. Because a lot of the times I feel guilty for my anger, anger at other people, anger at God. And it brings me to my knees because it just shows how broken I am. Definitely go listen to the orchestral piece called Nidre 47. And I will end this session by reading a poem that has inspired me, given me hope, and I hope it gives you light and joy and hope as well. It's the book that I'm reading from is called The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. He was a phenomenal poet. The poem I'm reading out of this book is called On Love. The way the book is structured, it's a long form poem, so it's almost like a story, but written in poetic language. And yeah, I will read that, and then I will say my goodbye. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find it. I should have bookmarked it. Okay. It starts like this. Then said Almitra, speak to us of love. And he raised his head and looked upon the people, and there fell a stillness upon them. And with a great voice he said, when love beckons to you, follow him. Though his ways are hard and steep, and when his wings enfold you, yield to him. Though the sword hidden among his pinions may wound you, and when he speaks to you, believe in him. Though his voice may shatter your dreams as the north wind lays waste the garden. For even as love crowns you, so shall he crucify you. Even as he is for your growth, so he is for your pruning. Even as he ascends to your height and caresses your tenderest branches that quiver in the sun, so shall he descend to your roots and shake them in their clinging to the earth. Like sheaves of corn, he gathers you unto himself. He threshes you to make you naked. He sifts you to free you from your husks. He grinds you to whiteness. He kneads you until you are pliant. And then he assigns you to his sacred fire, that you may become sacred bread for God's sacred feast. All these things shall love do unto you, that you may know the secrets of your heart, and in that knowledge become a fragment of life's heart. But if in your fear you would seek only love's peace and love's pleasure, then it is better for you that you cover your nakedness and pass out of love's threshing floor into the seasonless world where you shall laugh, but not all of your laughter, and weep, but not all of your tears. Love gives not but itself and takes not from itself. Love possesses not, nor would it be possessed, for love is sufficient unto love. When you love, you should not say, God is in my heart, but rather I am in the heart of God, and think you can direct the course of love, for love, if it finds you worthy, directs your course. Love has no other desire but to fulfill itself. But if you love and must needs have desires, then let these things be your desires. To melt and be like a running brook that sings its melody into the night. To know the pain of too much tenderness. To be wounded by your own understanding of love. And to bleed willingly and joyfully. To wake at dawn with a winged heart and give thanks for another day of loving. To rest at the noon hour and meditate love's ecstasy. To return home at eventide with gratitude. And then to sleep with a prayer of the beloved in your heart and the song of praise upon your lips. Thank you all for being here. Again, I know I say it a lot, but I will never be able to say it enough. My inspirations, also Toni Morrison, my favorite author ever. I read her a lot when I write. And yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Will the Second with an underscore at the end. That's my tag on all of my channels. What else before I say goodbye? I think I'm just stalling so that I don't have to. thank you, everyone, again. Thank you, Wiregrass. I hope to be back in the future. Visit Dothan when everything is safe. And I hope you all have a great night. Yeah, you can find my books at willthesecond.com or anywhere else. And yeah, I love you all, and thank you.